Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Fresh Thoughts. And as we're in series 2 now, we are kind of going into the world of collaboration. So last series was all about myself, and this one is going to be about expanding our horizons and kind of meeting new people and talking to different people. So as you can see on screen, we are now joined by Pellegrina from Amazon Girl Training, and we're going to have a discussion all about what she gets up to and our own sort of thought process around that.
Hi, I'm Pellegrina. I created a company called Amazon Girls Training, and it's all about fitness and health and empowerment. How it all started, well, I know here Josh from university where I studied film and drama, but as I had trouble to find a job quickly, I had another passion, and it was fitness. And on the very last year of uni, I made my certificate as personal trainer, and then I went into practice. And I got my first job in my first gym, and I learned a lot of lessons about people, about business, about how to sell yourself. That's a tremendous skill to have if you want to survive today. But the whole purpose of that journey that I went through, from being just a general PT to coming to this point that I created my own business and work with other people on my own. Besides that, I still do training for some gyms. I wanted to make something unique and focus more on women. Even I have still some male clients, and I have really good relationship with them, but I still think there is so little to said about female health and about that our bodies are just functioning a bit differently. And it doesn't mean that we cannot be super fit and strong and achieve whatever we want. It's just how we look at ourselves and how we judge ourselves. Because I know it all from my own experience when I went through my own self-judgment, and I was recovering from my own traumas, and fitness helped me a lot to overcome those issues and build up the confidence on many different levels, including my knowledge and also how we look like. Because if you can perform, I'm so happy I don't have to have a wheelchair or something, and I can carry on loads, and I can carry on heavy grocery, and I'm independent, and I really like that fact. And I think that's something what everyone should aspire to have, that less of dependency by training yourself to handle shit by yourself.
For sure, yeah, and that's what an intro, absolutely incredible. And I think kind of you're jumping from that, and it's in your experience, the sort of exercise has been this empowerment through your own self, and it's a way of kind of unlocking other sort of things maybe in life to make yourself so independent, which is, I think, is absolutely great. And I think that's kind of something that we can certainly kind of look into in more detail and kind of talk about how people kind of get to that point. And I guess it's almost like a switch, I suppose, you have to flick at some point to go, well, you know what, I'm this is me, and I don't want to settle for what I've currently got. I want to kind of maybe better myself and kind of progress. And I imagine that lots of people kind of have this the sort of fear of not really knowing how to kind of change or how to maybe motivate themselves or that kind of thing. And I don't know, do you find that it's people's lack of self-motivation is what kind of holds them back when it comes to exercise?
I think the lack of motivation is coming from lack of self-reflection. The all is coming from the depth to, most people live in some kind of denial. They don't want to face certain things in their life, and they go to their comfort zone. And that comfort zone can be, lazy lifestyle, easy choices. Okay, I don't have to cook, I don't have to prepare meals, I just grab easy stuff that is already there. Or I don't have to move more than walking from the bedroom to kitchen, so they most likely don't want to face the fact that time is passing every day, and they don't think about their future. It's really easy to forget about it when you don't have this error light there. So most of people who've been through some difficult times, they have to find out some kind of filter. For me, it was fitness, and for many others too, because this physical activity does something to your brain. You zone out and you focus on your body performance, and then all kind of benefits that comes along with it. And I think that lack of self-awareness is the true problem of laziness, of lack of motivation. They are just not seeing the progress, how far I can be when I start today and a year from now, or 5 years or 10 years. I mean, we none of us gonna be younger, So I think that's the biggest problem. People don't remind themselves that, okay, I have just this lifetime, this time in my hands. Let's use it.
Yeah, and I think looking at that is something that maybe we should try and expand upon. It's about how do we kind of feel, how do we feel people could need to change their mindset, because I guess it's socially acceptable to kind of very poo-hoo kind of going to the gym or exercise, and it's almost like people will kind of say, well, yeah, I don't exercise, and other people say, I don't exercise either. But it's people don't seem to have the realization of just how beneficial it can be. It's not only going to, say, the gym or going out to exercise or something just because you want to get fitter, but it's also to do with your own mental health, which is such a massive thing right now, especially with all the current limitations and sort of sanctions and things that we have on us. So I think, I don't know, would you have any tips on it, on how people can kind of maybe focus themselves into something?
I think people should give themselves a question. Do I like the current state where I am? Am I happy? Is it like what we really want from life? What if there is something much more for me, And I think, what is actually the best benefit you can get from this, from a fitness training is, I think, to gaining a confidence. You are being more aware of your space, because you can handle your body in different directions, because there are many types of training. Obviously, you don't have to stick with weights or just with runnings. You can combine it very well. You have many different sports. You can practice a bit doing strength and conditioning at home with no or little equipment. It's just the willingness to do so. I know it's better if we have a gym and that extra space where we go to, but I think the point is to create it within yourself. So the advice would be, ask yourself, am I where I want to be? Is this what I want to look like, feel like, be like, perform like?
For sure.
Kind of questions.
Yeah, I think I think listening to what you're saying there as well is people, like, it's absolutely great, and I can certainly see that in myself, because I used to go to the gym quite a lot, and then over time it's kind of got less and less and less, and then it kind of becomes this sort of thing of, oh well, I'm going to go again, I will go again, and then you tell people, oh yeah, I'm going to go back to the gym at this point, and it's taking that leap, isn't it? It's kind of realizing it's self-worth, it's realizing, what, I'm not quite happy about something, and it doesn't necessarily, people don't need to chase this sort of ideology of, oh, I want to look like a god or anything like that, or a lot of kind of fitness stuff can be like a mental kind of well-being, isn't it? So you're not having to run a marathon every single day, but you're maybe going to the stairs in your house and you're kind of going up and down the stairs and doing sets of that, or maybe you're lifting bags of sugar or something in the kitchen, or a bag of or whatever you can find, and kind of really making it your own, because it doesn't have to be this whole sort of process of, I'm going to get my gym kit on, I'm going to run to the gym, I'm going to do 2 hours in the gym, and then I'm going to run home, and then I'm going to eat all this stuff. Because I think people have this false pretense over what they imagine fitness to be, really. Like, that's me personally. I don't know what your kind of perception on that would be.
Yeah, that's right. People sometimes feel overwhelmed by what they have to do in order to be a certain way, but it's not necessarily the truth. Sometimes it's just about setting the minimal requirements you need to for your health and well-being. So I don't have to do, as you said, running marathon and doing crazy HIIT workout every single day, or doing weights. You just set yourself, what is your minimum requirement? That discipline has to be there. If it's twice a week for 1 hour or 30 minutes free time, whatever, it's not like it takes whole your day or whole your lifetime. It just bring in small steps, little changes. Just do that one extra walk every week. If you walk 10,000 steps every Wednesday, it's up to your general fitness. If you're gonna skip that one Wednesday that gives you these extra steps, then obviously you're gonna feel it. You're not realizing those things necessarily immediately, but you will see it with certain tasks. I'm like, how come I run out of breath so quickly just by running on the stairs? And I'm just going onto my own apartment that I used to go every single day when the workplace was open. And now I'm not practicing this stair climbing for a couple of months now, because we are in lockdown. How many? 3 months. So that affects your fitness, so to go out, and mostly if you go to to the nature, because it does something to also to your brain to be in a greenery and go for walks there rather than in a town. um, so yeah, it's just about doing little changes. You don't have to overdo it, just focus on little things you can add to it, you know and
But
your life would be
yeah, and it can completely transform you, and it's not necessarily something that's going to happen overnight. But I personally can imagine that you will start feeling different fairly quickly. Like if you're we're in such a strange culture right now where everyone kind of either goes and works in an office or they sit at home playing games for hours on end, and it's become very socially acceptable to kind of do that thing. But I think if those people go, you know what, I'm gonna actually make time. So it's about kind of when you realise your self worth, it's kind of you have to realise that you want to make a change, and that's not going to be like a sort of a too linear thing necessarily. It might not just go, oh wow, I'm suddenly really fit, or now into this. There will be a sort of element of perseverance, and I imagine that's where someone like yourself, that's where you come into play, because when you kind of have your clients and stuff, it's almost reminding them, because obviously they've taken a conscious thought to say, okay, yeah, I want to change, I want to get fitter or something, so and that's when they kind of get in touch with you and connect with you. But it's where you kind of come into play will be also because that's written in the diary. Those people then have to do that, isn't it? And I guess that's kind of an element, and it's kind of engaging these people, and someone like yourself, because you're a specialist, you kind of figure out a real sort of niche way of kind of getting that person to fit something in around their lifestyle, I suppose. And I guess what that could kind of lead on to would be talking about how your kind of business and the way you work has changed, say, over the last year. Because before you would have been in the gym, right? You would have been in the gym, or you would have been down the park, or you would have been whatever with people. But now that I presume that's changed, right?
Yeah, yeah, it changed a lot. I lost lots of clients. Some clients just they wanted to stop until the gym don't reopen, and I found that as a really, really terrible excuse, because you can keep training under my supervision either online, or we could still do it in a park that was in terms what government allowed us to do. But I think they miss the point of, like, it's just that force. Okay, I pay for certain package, so I invest in it. I pay a gym membership, so I want to use it. Otherwise, I'm wasting my money. Yeah. So if you invest in yourself, you rather you want to use it. So I'm really happy and keen to work with people like that, because I know they are committed. But there are other people who's like, something little happen. Okay, I have little back pain. I have that, and it's not a big deal. It's not like a serious thing. I'm not saying that people who really have a serious thing, but I have a bruise, so I'm not going to exercise, kind of thing. So it just, how strong is your mentality? Again, these people, from my side, what I'm trying to do with them is, as a coach, not just as a personal trainer, but as a fitness coach, to work with their mindset. And again, it's about constant reminding why they're doing what they're doing, because they want to be there for their loved ones. And how long you can last. I had a girl who had crazy back and knee issues. She was a little bit overweight, and she was doing nothing, like nothing. And she came to me, and after just 2 sessions a week, in a 3 months time, she just been a completely different person. It just depends like how much they want it, and her budget was just for those 2 sessions, because training can be expensive. But there are options. Okay, 30 minutes instead of 1 hour, or like, you have just 1 hour, or you get a training program instead of being with a one-to-one. There, if you really want it, you will find a way. And it doesn't have to be very costly, but I believe if you once spend money for yourself, you better use it, because, well, you wouldn't like, I'm earning those money, I'm getting you a hard way. Why would I put in something what I'm not actually using for my behalf? So that's a great motivation for people. But the problem is, some people didn't do the first commitment step of purchasing certain thing, and that's where it's supposed to, from the point of sale, when you're starting your business, that's supposed to be like a main thing, when I'm selling something and make people buy it, so they have to understand the importance of that. But it's a it's a hard game.
Of course, of course, of course, and because essentially what you're doing is you're having to persevere and keep these people locked in. And it's like I said, it's people they get to the point of where you kind of come in and they've already made that conscious decision. But I imagine that there's lots of people going to be watching or listening to this that are kind of really sat on the fence right now, and they're sitting there thinking, you know what, I would like to. I would like to get fitter, but I don't really know how, I suppose, and I don't really know where to start. But it is about self-motivation, isn't it? But then I think so many things in life are, and it is kind of taking this stand. Like, we've all kind of gone through some sort of hellish situation at some point in our life, and everyone's kind of locked into this really weird thing that's happening to us right now. And people make these decisions all the time. People are like, well, you know, I want to buy myself a new car, or I want to eat this food today, or I want to go. I'm not going to stay in the house. I'm going to walk down by the beach. I'm going to walk down there. So it's realizing that you need to, something isn't right necessarily, and that's kind of where we need to kind of then divert, and kind of we do need to say to ourselves, you know what, I don't want to put up with this. I want to better myself, and people shouldn't feel like they that this is it. Do you know what I mean? Like loads of people, I think, just kind of sit back and think, well, you know what, I've got a bit of a tummy and it's just me, or I can't necessarily run up the stairs or get up the stairs without getting out of breath. And it's those people, I think, that we need to we do need to motivate. We do need to say to them, you know, it's not too late. I think that's kind of, it's never too late, is it, kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's never too late, that's right. But sometimes you have to be ready for certain things, you know, like, because I've been in a situation when I saw, and I refused to work with certain people because I saw lack of the commitment. And even like I wrote my terms and conditions, look, guys, I guarantee you results, but your commitment has to be there, you know. There's no way that I provide everything, I give you the tools, but you have to deliver. So it comes together. But because of that, I created my new program about transformation, where you actually work on you asking yourself this kind of self-development questions, you know, write down reasons, what is holding you back, clean all things of your bad talks about you out, write down your aspirations, things like that. Also, it's about healing the trauma, because if you think about obese people or people with injuries or diseases, or I was looking into this. I didn't finish my degree with it, but all these traumas of our body are also the traumas that we experience since childhood till now. That's how we look like, That's why we're dealing with our things, how we're dealing with our things. There can be fat person having issue like, okay, I'm fat because if I'm fat, I'm the fattest in the room, you know, and that makes me unique. And how unique is that? And that's what give me the special feeling, because I always felt like I'm not special enough. So she found a special being by her appearance being overly big, you know, but it's not healthy for her heart and arteries and whatever. It's just wrong kind of setting how to prove ourselves that we are worthy. It's all the self-worth issue, you know. And so there are many other case studies I currently go through, because I found it interesting how our mind and body is connected. And, you know, people who went through tremendous abuse are actually really good performers in sports, and because they never gonna want to go back, you know, most of them. There is another aspect of it, you know, like everyone react differently on abuse or trauma. So some people are really like overperforming because they never want to go back to that state wherever they've been. And some people I just, you know, lay down, like they cover themselves and overprotect them in something. On the other spectrum, you have very skinny people who deny to eat because they scared to grow up, you know. It's like a Peter Pan complex. They want to be in the child look like body, you know. That's anorexia is one of the aspects. I'm not saying everything, I'm not expert on this topic. I'm just saying that there are certain case studies I went through and they refer to these kind of things. And then you have fitness that should be there to balance it all, you know. You don't have to be, as you said, six-pack professional tone athlete. You just have to be healthy, right, and have a joy. And if you have like, okay, I'm waking up with a smile, my body functioning for me, I can run the meadows and, you know, chase the rainbow, whatever you want to do, then that's what happiness is, you know. And also your relationships get better, because you starting to be responsible for your own body, that means you are able to be responsible for something bigger in your life, including your job, including your relationships, if you are mother, father, or if you have a partner you need to be accountable with, or whatever, you know.
Yeah, and I think one of the kind of drawing from that and kind of going off on another tangent, I think one of the crazy things is to exercise in its own right is actually something you can do for free. You can do it for nothing. Yet people still kind of are still scared of it. They're still kind of not really too sure about kind of where to go. When people will happily go and buy themselves fast food and they'll happily buy themselves loads of alcohol or whatever. And I'm not saying any of that is particularly wrong. It may not be particularly good for you, but it's the fact that people can do this sort of wellness and wholeness kind of routine, or change things up, switch things up, give themselves a better mental state, a better, maybe even a better physical appearance, in like they're not so whatever. But it's and they can do that for nothing. But it's about finding this sort of self motivation within yourself, and that's just seems to be this whole thing. It's about making a conscious decision that people need to kind of go, you know what, this isn't it. I need to do something else. And that's just, I just find it just quite mind blowing, really, that people kind of maybe settle for second best. But then going back to what you kind of said, I think it's where people kind of find themselves slotting into places. So it's, well, you know what, I am like this, and this is me, and it's maybe funny, or this is kind of what I bounce off, and this kind of vibe, and whatever. And it's not, those people need to realise that it doesn't have to be like that. You know, it's not, it's just not fair. You know, it's just not right, maybe, to kind of chase that, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, it's, you just have to always keep asking yourself what you really want, and re-evaluate what you want from life. Because once you stop asking, like, what's next step, you start stagnating wherever you are. You know, whatever job occupies your head, you have to keep on mind that job is just part of your life. Then you have many other spectrums. Okay, so some people are, they call them workaholics, but some people are forced workaholics because they give them more shifts or more hours to work or cover someone else's, because at the moment they fire so many people, so now one man has to do many other people's job. And I see it a lot now, that people are maybe working from home, but instead having 8 hours with a 1 hour lunch break, they work in 12 hours with no break. And that's not what they want from life, right? Because their spine is aching. There is much more into life what to do, so they cannot wait for that weekend to just unplug. And what they do is something easy, because they are so mentally exhausted to invest in their body, that they do the easy choices. But that's problem of the system. You know, that whole all governments should consider what kind of nation they want to have, because if they're going to produce this kind of unhealthy lifestyle, they either overdo it one way, that they make people work too much, or they don't have enough productive work or something they can mentally engage themselves. Then you create different kind of diseases and you know, life issues they have to face. And you know, I just cannot wait when this government implements something like a, not compulsory, but something that will more promote health and fitness in to all castes. I
Yeah.
would say, to all people from different environments. Everyone who is here supposed to be informed. There are options for them to get healthier and fitter, and these are the things they have to do. Doesn't matter where you're coming from. People all over the world have different health issues, and mostly certain communities from you know, immigrants families, because they don't have enough money and not enough education, and they bring in the culture there, and they forgetting, okay, we came here because we want to evolve, right? But sometimes they're keeping their own habits and the heavy kitchen and foods and lack of movement and certain restrictions. But it takes a while to progress, so it usually takes a few generations then to overcome. Still, you keep in your identity, but to go beyond that, it's all about the time. You know, sometimes you need someone outside of your community to remind you, all right, there are other ways how you can behave. You can still keep whatever you have, you believe in, but let's focus on your well-being, because you still want to be there for your loved ones, right? And so you have to take care of yourself, and that minimum fitness, what you have to do is this and that, and you have to give up of these heavy oils and fried stuff, whatever you do. So just little changes in life will move people to better place.
And that's such a really nice. I think that's kind of a nice thing to kind of round up on, is to say that people don't have, their life doesn't have to completely flip upside down to make these changes. It is about making these very small changes, whether it be maybe not having so much of this particular food all the time, so maybe don't have chips 3 or 4 nights a week, but maybe just switch that out for something else. Because I think people have this sort of shock, and they kind of have this fear of thinking, you know, my whole life has to change now. I suddenly can't eat all the things I like, and I can't drink all the things I like, and so on and so forth. And it's about transitioning over into something else, because my own personal journey was, I used to eat maybe a lot of fast food and a lot of very easy to cook and make food. But it's, once you get into this sort of rhythm of having other stuff that doesn't necessarily have to be expensive, it can just be just swapping certain things out for other things, and you get into the rhythm of having maybe these other foods, and then you like those foods more than other foods. So if I maybe go and have a fast food burger now or whatever, it won't taste as good as it did when I used to have them all the time, because I'm not really used to eating it. And you kind of learn and you train yourself, and that's all part of it, isn't it? I think the biggest thing to kind of go around this is for people to maybe not be quite so lazy within themselves and just settle for what's going on, but kind of go, yeah, like I can change some things, and then my whole outlook. And I personally believe that if you, like you said, well, going off from what you said, is once you start making these changes, your whole outlook on so many different levels will very quickly start changing. And it's kind of that self-care, when you respect yourself more. I think, yeah, you're right, you're so right, it does enable you to respect other things and other people more.
Yeah, and like as you said, there are ways how to do this quick swaps. Even you are on the go. For example, you have busy day out there, and you are just driving, and you didn't prepare yourself a meal. But these days, you can even do easy swaps, like there is cut veg or something, instead doing the easy, overly unhealthy or healthy. It's just not balanced enough. But you can get the healthier version these days in shops, if you are on the go. And just to be aware, like what you can swap. Okay, obviously carrots are probably better than chips, so just, it's kind of like a common sense. I think people know what is healthy, they just don't want to choose it. And I think good thing how to change your habit, you always have to ask yourself, how do I feel after this meal? Do I feel heavy, bloated, everything is like messed up with me, I feel tired after this meal? That's not right kind of meal. That's a reaction. Your body is telling you this is not how you want to feel in a midday. So or even after your breakfast, how come you feel already tired? Because this kind of food is not nutritionally dense. It doesn't give you the energy that actually keeps you flowing. So these kind of things people should consider. It's about always doing a self check. How do I feel after this meal? How do I want to feel? So what do I have to do for that? So if you have, for example, if you have a big meeting or some important thing to do, you just don't go and overeat yourself, right? Because even like your brain's gonna be tired to digest, because you have to produce so much energy just to digest the food. So those kind of choices must be really carefully done. Whatever task is in front of you, what you're gonna consume before that.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
also, and remembering that whatever you put in your body is fuel for your body, and it is in there for a while. So if someone didn't run and they were going to go on a run, they wouldn't fill up their rucksack with a load of bricks and then try and run. So it's like you don't want to fill your body up with all this like stuff that's just not gonna fuel you, right? And then you're gonna go and try and do your move and your exercise and whatever. And even if you're just going out and about, like you say, like if you go out for a big meal, like in a restaurant, and you really gorge yourself, you really fill yourself up, it's not a comfortable experience, and you might laugh about it or something. And that's all part of this process, isn't it? It's making these sort of maybe micro decisions and making these micro changes, so then the bigger picture then starts changing. It start turning these little cogs to make the bigger cogs then start turning, and then the wheels start turning, and then things just kind of unfold. And I think once you become a little bit into it, once you become into the more healthier lifestyle, things do unfold and new doors kind of open for you. And then it's like, oh, well, I'm enjoying this. Like, rather than sitting there and just maybe scrolling through Facebook for hours every night, maybe still do that if you want to, but maybe spend half an hour researching different things you can eat or different things you can replace, or even researching just small exercises you can do.
Yeah, yeah. And did you ever heard phrase said like, if it tastes too well, spit it out?
Yeah.
So that can be a really good guideline if you want to do a healthy choice, because usually things that taste way too good are full of sugars and full of trans fats and so on. I'm not saying you should apply it for everything. We should have some joyful time as well, and I think it's about having a balance. It's just the people are sometimes restricting themselves. Oh, if I'm going on a diet, that means I have to do elimination all the time. That's not true. You just decrease certain things and you balance it. You place yourself, okay, celebration is time. Okay, my mom has a birthday, we have a little home party. I'm gonna eat more, of course, but she has birthday once a year, or Christmas is there once a year. Okay, rest of the year you can be clean. You just wait for those special occasions. That's why they call special occasions, right? They are not the random days. So most of the days, if you try to be balanced and healthy, and having appropriate amount of everything. Okay, you can have here and there some little fancy snack, but it's about waiting for the time that it's worthy to be with, because it's also about how you emotionally digest everything what goes inside you, and it's also connected to exercise. How do you feel after you finish? It's all about releasing the endorphins after a great meal or after a great exercise. That those hormones have tremendous impact on your mental and if you are mentally healthy, that is the clue. But you can be mentally healthy only if your body is healthy too, and it goes hand in hand, what we put in and what we put out. So yeah.
Yeah, wow. I think that's a really cool point for us to kind of maybe draw a close to this episode number 1, because I think with the things that we've kind of touched upon here, we're talking about realising your self-worth, realising that you want to change and make a difference. And it doesn't have to be a completely life-changing change initially to get the ball rolling. It can be these micro decisions that then lead on to other stuff. So it might be, rather than spending hours and hours doing whatever you're doing that's almost wasting time, maybe research some fitness stuff, or maybe get in touch with yourself, or maybe just try, or maybe just play around with things, because making other stuff, just chucking like your fast food in the oven or just ordering it is easy. It is easy to do that. So it is going. All these processes they are going to take some sort of conscious effort, and they are going to make some sort of change. But it's about doing that, and then that leads to other things, and then it just becomes the norm. Once you get used to making your own dinner, then and whatever, or eating a slightly different way, it then becomes the routine. And people love routines. Like, people get locked into a routine, and once you lock into the routine of this new sort of journey that you're going to take yourself on, it then just becomes the norm, and you want to do it, and you kind of strive to do it. And I imagine you kind of see that in some of your clients as well. And further down the line, once they lock into it, they look forward to working out, they look forward to making these changes, and they look forward to kind of doing their thing and bettering themselves.
They fell in love again with themselves, and it's a pleasure to see it,
Amazing. So, okay then, all right, so we're going to wrap this one up here. So I hope it kind of resonated with you guys. It certainly brought a few cool topics and a few thoughts to my mind, and took me down some tangents and whatever, and I'm definitely going to start making some changes myself. So yeah, until the next one, I hope you enjoy this one, and I'll see you soon.